All right, folks, welcome to the Smart Gamble. This is the NFL Playoff Week Wildcard Weekend edition of the NFL Playoffs. I'm CJ Jones coming to you live from Las Vegas. As always, I'm joined by my podcast partners, Miss Lily and the Retired Fatty. How you guys doing?
Good,
I'm
good.
fine. How are you,
We got about
sir?
3 inches of snow on the ground.
Oh,
Do you
I
really?
I
We do.
Yeah,
never ever want to see snow again. The next snowflake I ever see would be the last one. So
yeah, trust me. I'd like to be able to say that too. We got about an inch on the ground.
crazy,
Yeah,
crazy.
it is. It's really crazy. It's slippery, and when you get a little bit older, it's very unsafe. You're not sure where you're going, where you're walking. It's terrible.
No, I know.
Exactly. And one
Terrible.
fall could be the downfall. So
Oh,
no doubt.
absolutely,
No doubt.
absolutely. You break your hip, you're done.
Yeah. Of course, folks, we don't have our creative genius today, but we're gonna get by anyway. So Lily, tell us
Yes.
how people can find us.
Okay, check us out at thesmartgamble.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Um, Email us at thesmartgamble@gmail.com and check us out on social media on Twitter and Instagram at thesmartgamble_.
All right. We have a packed show today. A lot of good stuff going on. How do you guys feel about the playoffs coming up? You guys getting excited?
Very.
Uh, Me, no. No, I'm
Really?
not, because the first week, I think everything is relative. I think it stands that the good teams will win, bad teams or the lesser teams will lose. Maybe not by the margins, but I watched some shows, sports shows yesterday, and there were shows that picked the five favorites. It was easy.
Yeah,
Nobody picked the upset.
this is actually my favorite weekend of the NFL playoffs, wild card weekend, because you have a couple of pretenders. I get that, but we also
Yep.
have a couple of teams. I would guarantee that some favorite is going to lose this weekend. I can't tell
Yep.
you
Really,
who. I think there's going to be one underdog who's going to come through and actually win outright.
Yep.
We
I
don't know
agree.
who that is, but mark my words.
really.
Yes.
Well, I, I, I don't know. I look at the games, and I can't foresee one of the teams, one of the underdogs winning. I think if these teams play up to their potential, which of course they won't if they lose, uh, it's to me. I think it's going to be kind of hard for any of these teams to lose going into the playoffs. They're all sky high. Everybody's trying to do their best and so forth, and they got the adrenaline flowing. So
All
I
right.
I I hope your prognostication is correct. I
We shall
believe that
see.
we shall see,
We shall
but
see.
and you are usually right. Although I object.
All right, let's jump right in here, folks. We usually have Angie as our creative
Creative
genius. We
genius.
have a substitute, a substitute here. So let's get things started, Mr. Retired Fatty.
Okay. Question number one. In the spirit of the new year, this first question has to do with broken promises. New Year's resolutions are being made all over the globe, and all studies tell us that the average person breaks her New Year's resolution within a few weeks after New Year's Day. How long after New Year's Day have you ever kept a New Year's resolution? CJ.
I actually have done pretty well with these resolutions, especially when it comes down to weight and fitness and health. Um, many months. I've done well as far as my resolutions. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but for some reason, maybe I'm a geek, but that's kind of
No,
how
I,
I.
I think you're a very disciplined person, and that's why when you say do something, say something, you usually try your damnedest to keep it, and you're that
Yep.
type of person.
What about you,
Lily,
Dad?
Lily,
What? I wanted
how
to know
about
what
you?
about you?
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
I usually don't make any resolutions. I used to when I was younger because I
Me
felt
too.
stronger and so forth, but now I don't dare make resolutions because I might break a leg. So It's that being the case, I don't make resolutions, and if I ever did, it wouldn't last many more than a couple of days, tops a week.
All right.
That's
So
it.
I have everyone beat. No doubt about this one.
Okay.
When I was 4 months pregnant with Angie, I made a New Year's resolution that I would not drink caffeine anymore, and I never went back. I have not
Really?
drank caffeine. Angie's now what, 27, going on 28? All
Wow.
those years, I never
Wow.
went back.
You ought to be complimented. That's amazing.
So
Thank
what was
you.
the reason for the no caffeine? Was it just a
Yeah.
health thing
Just a
or
health thing for the baby, yeah.
okay.
Because
Oh,
caffeine
wow.
isn't good for the baby. Yeah.
Really? That's
Yep.
terrific.
Yeah, I've
God
heard other
bless.
things, not obviously the very obvious ones not being good for babies, but I never really heard anything about caffeine. So interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All
And the
right.
next time I have a baby, I'll give up caffeine.
All
You
right.
people are crazy. Question number 2. Since this podcast focuses mainly on football, this next question is about football head coaches. If you had an opportunity to have drinks with any current or past National Football League coach, who would it be and would insist that he pays for the drinks? For the drinks.
My
So,
guy is easy, not even a batting an eyelash. Rex Ryan. That guy is the funniest dude I've ever seen on TV. I think it's great, and I would have him pay for the drinks, no doubt.
oh yes,
Absolutely.
I would agree with both. Well, I would agree. I don't know about the first one, but I would definitely have Rex pay for it.
What about you?
Lily,
All
you
right,
want
I'm
me to?
next then. No, I'll go next. Bill Parcells,
Ah,
because he's worked with Dallas, the Jets, the Giants, New England, all these top teams. I would love to have drinks with him, and yes, he would be buying.
but
Yes.
Millionaire,
would
you
Bill
better be
Parcells
buying.
be a guy who could make you laugh though? I mean, Bill Parcells sounds like a little like a pill to me. He's a great coach, but he's a pill.
He's
He
he's a
is.
cranky old guy now.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah.
Who would
But
I? Who would I pick?
Who would you pick?
Your mother. Your mother gave me the idea, and she was absolutely right. He would be interesting, and I would love to talk to him. Pete Carroll.
Oh, okay.
Jets in Seattle, right?
Good
Yes,
Both
choice.
in our family.
Yes.
he's in his 70s. And your mother's, and I asked her, I said, who would you do that? Answer that question. She said, right off the top of her head, she said, Pete Carroll. And I said, you know what? I said, that's a very good answer. I said, he would
Great
be very
answer.
interesting to sit down to dinner and talk to him. And I said, that would be my choice too.
He was one of my choices too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you, mother, for that one.
All right, good answer.
She's really getting into sports, Lynn. We're going to have to watch her.
All right.
Next question. Question 3. You are scheduled to go out to dinner with a couple you're known for years. One half of the other couple sends you a text saying that things aren't going well in their marriage. On the night of the dinner, the person who confided in you makes some under the table advances at you.
Ooh, all right.
Yes, geez. Your partner doesn't notice. When you get home, do you tell your partner?
No,
Really?
absolutely not.
I would, only to say that I feel uncomfortable going to dinner with them, so I wouldn't want to go again. And I would tell them why.
Okay. And I agree with you. I would tell him. I don't think it's fair. I don't know if fair is the right word, but I don't think I could be honest with somebody sitting across from the table from them and not telling that person, hey, watch out for your buddy there. He's fooling around. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I would look at it from the standpoint of the couple, with the person who's actually making the advances, must be going through some really, really difficult things to do that at a public place and so forth. So that marriage is probably on the rocks anyway. So I would probably think of it in those terms and say, these guys probably need some help counseling, or maybe you need to make that move and say, see you later.
Right, right.
Well, out of the 3 of us, CJ, you're the one that I would look at because you seem to be fooling around. All right, question number 4. You
All
are
right.
walking on a beach at night when you see 2 people engaging in sexual activity in the distance. Angelica came up with these questions?
No, she did not. No.
She did not.
And she wasn't even going to read this one.
No. They
Too
don't
risque for
know
her.
you can see them. Do you stop and watch?
Why not? Why not? I mean, bottom line is that now, if you're on a public beach and you're engaging in this activity, chances are you probably have to understand that other people eventually are going to see you. So if they don't mind doing what they're doing, why should I mind?
Okay, going back to the previous question, in this question, you're a predator in the first and the sleazy guy in the second. So you're doing very well, CJ.
Oh yeah, my stock is dropping right now, I think.
Absolutely. It's now going to the bottom. Lily, what is your response?
I don't really have a response. I don't know what the hell I would do.
My answer would be no. I would not stop him.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
All
Question
right.
number 5. You and your best friend are out having lunch when she and he notices someone at another table noticeably stuttering. Your best friend begins to mercilessly mock the stutterer while laughing uncontrollably.
Mm.
What your friend doesn't know is that your child or relative also stutters. Do you say anything to your friend? Do you remain friends?
No.
Absolutely
CJ.
not.
If this person is so immature that they have to make fun of this poor person that has this really bad stutter and then is laughing uncontrollably, I wouldn't want to be friends with that person anymore.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
That's
I
insane.
agree.
And as a
I
person who
agree.
used to stutter very badly myself, that strikes home to me. So there's no way I would say something definitely, and I would say, see you later.
Yeah,
No longer
me too.
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would also say that. I would.
I mean, that's like just discrimination in general, you know?
Yeah, and I agree with you, Lily, that the person has to be immature to pick on somebody that's struggling to
Right,
speak and so forth. That's terrible.
right.
Terrible.
All right, good
All
segment,
right.
guys. Good segment.
Yes,
Yeah.
good segment.
All
Thank you
right,
for
let's
having.
move into football with CJ's quick fire questions.
Quick fire.
Okay.
Potpourri of hot topics around the NFL.
Let's do it.
Here we go. If the Chiefs pull off a three-peat this year and their fourth Super Bowl overall, would that be a more impressive feat than the Patriots' 6 Super Bowl wins in a span of just under 2 decades, which was in 2002, 2004, 2005, 2015, 2017, and 2019? Which is the bigger feat?
My feeling is no, it would not be as impressive as the 6-peat. To me, the 6-peat is still a number that I don't think will be reached. What Tom Brady did, because it spanned over 17 years. I mean, do we think Mahomes is going to last 17 years? I don't think so.
Okay, I think I might have to disagree. I
Oh,
think it would
wait
be
a minute, I'm
necessary.
supposed to disagree.
This
Wait a
is
minute.
your job there. But yeah, I think I mean if you look at the years that Brady and Patriots did it, it's really kind of like two different dynasties, the early O's
Yes,
and the
yes.
late teens. So personally, I think that Mahomes right now is a better quarterback than Brady. I'll make that pronouncement. I think when it's all said and done, I think we're going to be looking at Mahomes as the greatest of all time. I think that he will continue to win Super Bowls. And I think even though I'm very impressed with the two separate dynasties, the Brady, the early O's and the late teens, I still think that if Mahomes going to win this year and continue to win, that he eventually will pass Tom Brady as the greatest. So I'd say yes.
Well, I disagree. How do you like that?
Well, to your point, CJ, I mean, it's impossible to win three in a row. You know, it's close to impossible.
Yeah.
So I think that's the bigger feat because
Yes.
then you could have different quarterbacks coming in and winning 6 different Super Bowls. You know what I mean?
That is true. That is
So I
I'm,
true.
think the three-peat is more impressive.
I was going to rephrase my answer. I would agree that the three-peat is more impressive than
Mhm.
what Brady did, only if Mahomes three-peats. If he loses this year, then I would say no, his record is not going to be as impressive as Mr. Brady.
Yeah, I think part of this question too, when I wrote it, was just the whole nature of fans and people in media about the number of championships describing how great people are. Because I mean, I know, Tyler Fatty, you are a basketball savant, you coached and so forth, and so you obviously know about Bill Russell, who has 11 rings and 13-year
Mhm.
period. Yet
Yes.
he is not considered the greatest basketball player ever. They consider Jordan. He's got
Well,
six rings.
I think that's the shame of the writers and the people not
Yeah.
looking at him. He was a terrific individual. He played basketball very, very well. And I think that he was shortchanged on that aspect of
Yeah,
his life.
yeah. And so I think in the same token, I don't think Mahomes needs to get to six to be considered greater than Brady. I think if he
Yeah, I,
gets,
I would agree with that,
yeah,
but I'm still saying that I
mhm,
wouldn't hold Mahomes as the greatest when it comes to the winning the Super Bowls if he doesn't three-peat, if he misses this year, if you notice that this year he took a hell of a beating, he was
He
constantly
did.
limping and wobbling off the field. I figure look at Brady. Brady is much bigger, wider than Mahomes. Mahomes is a smaller player. And I think as time goes on and these 360-pound mammoths are chasing him all over the field, he's going to go down rapidly. I don't think he'll have the stature, the strength, the stamina to stay what Brady did, only because of Brady's physical size. And
Yeah.
I think if he doesn't repeat now, I think Mahomes' road gets very dark and quickly because of the beating he's taking now.
Good points. Good points.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Number 2. Despite several very close calls this year, the Chiefs are still regarded as the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year, according to the sports books in Vegas. With the playoff field set, which team would you say is the biggest threat to the Chiefs? Baltimore, Buffalo, Philly, Minnesota, Green Bay, or Detroit?
I have an order of finish as far as that goes. Number
Okay.
1 is Philly. Number 2 is Detroit. Number 3 is Buffalo. And 4 is Baltimore. That's my order of the teams that I think they should be concerned about.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people on TV, the talking heads, talk about how great Philadelphia is. Philly still has to prove something to me. I mean, they've got great talent, but I question their coaching ability. I question some of the decision making, and quite frankly, I question Jalen Hurts. I'm not totally
Yes.
sure if he is the most accurate guy. Like if you had to make a third down and 10 pass deep in the fourth quarter, would you rather trust Goff or would you rather trust Jalen Hurts? I think I trust Goff. So I don't really think that Philadelphia's a great team. I think Detroit's a little bit better when they're healthy, and they have endured a lot of injuries, Detroit, and yet still they're the top team in the NFL as far as their record goes. So I would probably say Detroit might be the biggest threat in my mind.
Well, I disagree with you, of course. And for my reasons,
As you are wont to do.
Philly, if you look at Philly, as long as Lance Johnson is playing, that right tackle,
Yeah, Lane
he is
Johnson, yep,
all pro. He is an outstanding
he
tackle.
is.
That offensive line for Philly is better than the Chiefs. Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, if Philly can stay healthy, and that means Hurts right now,
Yeah,
I would say that if Hurts is normal, if he's fine, and everything, I think Philly will beat the Chiefs.
the Chiefs. Okay.
Because of the one great addition, which is Saquon. Saquon right now is the best running back in football.
He is.
Outside of maybe Henry, but even Henry, if you notice in the last couple of games, is starting to go down again. And I think when it gets to the playoffs, I think Saquon will rise to the top again. And if he can play anywhere near what he's been playing, I think Philly will beat the Chiefs.
All right.
Now, haven't the Bills already beat the Chiefs this season? Or was that last year?
No, that's this
30
year.
to 21.
Yes,
30 to 21.
30 to 21.
they did.
Yeah.
That was Buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Lions in preseason beat them, but that doesn't really count.
That's true.
But if the game pops up again that it's between Buffalo and the Chiefs will win because they've played them. They know what to expect from Buffalo. Where with Philly, they haven't seen Philly on the field. They don't know what they're going to get. And as far as I'm concerned with the Philly line, the offensive line, and the way the defense is playing, their defense is number 1 in the league.
Yes, it is.
And their offense is right there, number 1 also. That's why I say I see Philly beating the Chiefs if that game comes to pass.
Okay. So now, in order for that to happen, Philly would probably have to go to Detroit in the NFC Championship game and win in Detroit. Do you think that can happen?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yes.
All right.
I think Philly would beat them 21-10.
Ooh, 21 to 10?
21-10.
Wow.
I think the defense for Philly is that good. And their offense, as far as I'm concerned, certainly matches. They got A.J. Brown. They got Devontae Smith as wide receivers, 2 of the best receivers in football. They got Saquon Barkley, who's the best runner in that. Detroit, yes, they got what's his name?
Jameer Gibbs, and they have
Gibbs. They got Gibbs, was
Amon-Ra
very
St.
fast.
Brown.
They got him to those guys, but I think that the Philadelphia defense line will stop the run. And once they stop Detroit's run, you push Goff into a very limited areas where he can move that offense. And if that happens, they're not going to do very well. He needs to have running and the passing attacks working full blast for him to work, for that offense to work.
I'm sure our listening audience in the Philadelphia area is smiling right now over your comments. That's good. Our Philadelphia Eagles fans, folks, our followers. Okay.
I'm going to send out a Mimi quote, say that you could contribute to my Mimi, whatever that means.
Okay.
I don't know what it means, Lily. I don't know what it means.
Oh, my God. All right, next question. I love these questions, by the way. These are awesome. Mm-hmm. At the other end of the spectrum, we have the teams that stunk out loud this year.
Oh, boy.
Or at the very least, severely underperformed. Which was the most disappointing team of the 2024 season? The 49ers, the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Jets, or some other team? I would add the Jaguars to that.
Okay.
They were very disappointing.
Okay, my teams in the order of disappointment certainly was the 49ers. And that was because of their injuries. Their season has really gone down the drain. They were proposed to be the winners of the AFC, the NFC. And they didn't even come close. Second would be Dallas. Dallas was a disaster, but that again because of injuries. And the third team would be the Jaguars. I agree with Lily. The Jaguars were a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that Trevor Lawrence got hurt twice during the year. But I think that team was supposed to come out and be a contender for the AFC title against Kansas City. They didn't even come close. They were terrible. So, yeah, those are my three teams.
Yeah. And Angie wanted to add Tennessee.
Okay.
Yes, I would say Tennessee too.
Yeah, but Tennessee has no quarterback though. They have no quarterback in Tennessee, so interesting there. But I mean, in my mind, this has to be the Jets. I mean, you bring in Aaron Rodgers last year. He gets hurt in the fourth play of the season, tears his Achilles tendon. This year they bring him back. He's supposedly healthy, and that team looked terrible for a good part of this year. If they had been what they claimed they were going to be, they probably could have challenged the Buffalo Bills for the AFC East. In my mind, could the Bills who are coming into the season with no Stephon Diggs. They had injuries and so forth. And to me, this was supposed to be a step back year for the Bills. And it turns out the Jets really could have had these guys. And the Jets just simply were terrible. If you give a good coach and some other good circumstances, they probably win 10, 11 games in my mind.
Yes.
So
for change, I agree with you.
I think really? The sky is going to open up.
Well, don't let it easy. Just easy. Don't get too excited.
Are going to be descending and descending.
I'm sure it's not going to last long, so don't get too excited. But I would agree with you. I think the Jets at the beginning of the season, if you remember, that defense was rated as in the top 5, and they wound up 27th, I think. So that was a complete disaster.
Yeah, they underperformed.
And Rodgers, I hope Rodgers gets on the bus and rides into the sunset, because I can't see him coming back. He is not going to last in the league. Some 350-pound lineman is going to put him out of the league for sure. His passing is not that astute anymore like it used to be, where he was right on the money every time he threw the ball. Not now. He misses the guys by 3 to 5, 7 yards. So as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Rodgers could go right into the sunset, take his going into the
darkness retreat.
Yes. And wave goodbye. Say bye.
As of week 18, he was ranked 29th. I couldn't believe it.
And yet, the very last game of the season, he throws 4 touchdowns. He gives you a little bit of tease and so forth. That just in typical Aaron Rodgers fashion, he's a con guy. You know, he'll give you these little snippets of things. And that game alone, he'll say, "Hey, by the way, I still got it. Sign me for another 5 years contract and $300 million because I can throw touchdowns still." Forget about him.
Well, all I can say to you, CJ, is if some team does that, they were a bunch of jackasses.
Yeah.
And I'm being kind.
Okay, next question. It's a long one, so hang in there.
All right.
There are some great feel-good stories regarding quarterbacks this year. Jaden Daniels of the Commanders, Joe Burrow of Cincy, and Josh Allen of the Bills. But perhaps none better than the reclamation project that is Sam Darnold. Once a cast-off of the team that drafted him, the Jets, with stops in Carolina and San Fran with little to no fanfare, Darnold was an insurance policy for the Vikings this past offseason after Minnesota drafted J.J. McCarthy this past spring. He has become the primary reason why the Vikings are fighting the Lions for the best record in all of football this Sunday. If you were in the Vikings front office, do you give Sam Darnold a long-term contract, likely in the $50 million per year range? Or do you let Sam Darnold walk into free agency and go with the rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, who is currently recovering from a torn Achilles tendon in 2025? And where does Sam Darnold rank among the best quarterbacks in 2024?
All right. I know that you had some strong words, Mr. Retired Fatty, about Mr. Sam Darnold a couple of weeks ago, so I'll give you the first crack at this.
Okay, I definitely, in the way he's played, he deserves at least a 2 to 3 year contract. As far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't go any more than that.
Yeah.
But I would give him a 2 to 3 year contract. I think he's played very well. I think he's fit in with their style of play, and I think he would be a very big asset for the Minnesota Vikings.
But at what price, though? I mean,
all right, wait a minute.
Is he a $50 million quarterback?
No, not 50 million. I'd give him 20, 25 million for 3 years. That's it.
Because the reason why I asked that question is that I think if he's going to get re-signed, he's going to be asking for about $50 million per year.
Well, he can ask all he wants. He's not getting it.
And so if you're Minnesota, he asks for $50 million, you say no. What's your next option? Is it J.J. McCarthy? Is it somebody else? Is it Kirk Cousins again? You know, what are your options? Because I think that's really the big question here is, in my mind, Sam Darnold has shown that he can play quarterback in this league. He's much improved over when he first came into the league with the Jets. But at what price? I think
okay,
that's
but
really the big key.
I don't think Sam Darnold, let me say this, that he's matured enough now to know where he is. And for him to come out and ask for $50 million, there is no way in hell that he is worth $50 million, even the way he's playing now. I think he realizes his value is more in the $25 million range. Take the money and go. Because I think if he gets greedy, they'll bounce him and they'll go with J.J. McCarthy and they'll try it. And he'll be out of a job or he'll be sitting on the bench for another year. I think Sam Darnold shows me now that he is smart enough, mature enough to handle his position in life and that he is aware of the fact that he has done well this year only because he's fit into that program. He's gotten to a team that's provided him with Justin Jefferson, which was a gift from heaven.
Yeah.
And the running backs, the same thing. His running backs have been terrific. And that he's got a team that if he goes somewhere else, may not come anywhere near what he has now. And that's why I say he's mature enough to realize all those assets. And what he would do, I think, was ask for a very appropriate number. He would not go for the sky thinking he's Tom Brady. No, I think
what do you think, Lily?
Week 1, he was ranked 5th, and still week 18, he's ranked 5th. Mm-hmm. So he's been very consistent all season long.
He has.
Yeah. He has.
So, I mean, for the big bucks, $50 million, no, but definitely 2 to 3 year contract, like retired Fatty said, for $25-30 million.
Yeah, and as far as where he ranks in quarterbacks for this year, the ones I take ahead of him will be Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar, Justin Herbert, Goff, and Stafford.
I rank them between 5 and 10.
Okay, yeah, and that's
where I would.
That's pretty good. That's
that's very good. You're in the elite when you're
as far as the we talked about the salary before. Jalen Hurts makes $50 million.
Does he really?
$50 million. Daniel Jones made $40 million this year. $40 million for Daniel freaking Jones.
Well, we know the Giants have been a complete disaster, not only on the field but off the field, financially and otherwise. So that happening, I'm not too shocked, but that is a big shock that he's making $40 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then Sam deserves a 50.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
very good, Lily. Very good. Yes.
All
Very
right.
good.
All right. Last but not least, the Philadelphia Eagles chose to rest all of its starters in Week 18 to prepare for the playoffs. This meant that Saquon Barkley, who was just 101 yards away from the all-time single-season rushing record, was not given the chance to break the record. Was this the correct call on the part of Philadelphia Eagles coach Nick Sirianni? Absolutely not.
You know, I was dying to see Saquon go for that record. I tell you,
Yeah.
I could taste it. Now, but the thing is, though, Philadelphia is a victim of their own demise from last year. They were 10-1 last year. They lost like 5 out of the last 6 games, and they were beat up, tired, and so forth, and they lost in the first round to Tampa Bay. I think that situation contributed greatly to this year. Had that situation had not happened, Saquon, play the first half and see what happens. See how close you can get. I really, really wanted to see him break that record, and unfortunately, last year dictated what they did this year.
Okay, I don't see any fault with what you're saying, but I disagree.
What?
The situation is that at the beginning, to be a team player, Saquon said, "No, I don't have to play. It's okay. I'll sit." Then he thought about it for a couple of days, and then he changed his mind. I think the young man, and it's very unfortunate, but very, very, very few ever get to the point that he's at with 2,000 yards. To be 100 yards away from setting the mark, I would definitely let him try it. Like you said, I would let him out there for the first half, see how he did. If he seems like he's able to move the ball and he seems to be okay, I would let him try in the second half to make the mark. And I think you as the coach, you have to realize that, because Saquon, after a day or two, changed his mind. And I think he changed his mind because he talked not only to his teammates, but to his family and everybody else who wanted him to see him make that mark. And I think the young man should be given the opportunity. I don't think anybody realized his potential and the way it has turned out in Philadelphia this year. Even Saquon, I don't think would have realized it.
Yeah.
And to have this opportunity, you're not going to get 2,000 yards ever again. So I would definitely have let him try. And I can't see why. But Sirianni, what's his name? Sirianni?
Yeah, Sirianni, yeah.
He's made mistakes during the year. There's been trouble in the clubhouse with him. I think Sirianni is not the greatest coach that's came down the pike. It's fortunate that he's got some very good players, some old times like Lance Johnson, who were probably helping him run this team. And I think because of that, that's why they've been winning. And to do this to the young man, because Sirianni came right out the first moment, oh, he's not playing. Well, I wouldn't do that to him. I really wouldn't. And I would leave it in his lap to say, now, like I said, he said no because that's what he knew Sirianni wanted him to say. But you don't get to this goal ever again.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Once in a lifetime.
It's done like 2,000 yards years in a row. So you're there now. You better take the chance and the opportunity because it ain't coming back. So I think they made a mistake.
Huge.
Yeah, it's funny. I just one last thing about this. I heard a really, really cool stat about this particular situation. Only 3 men have held the most yards in a career in a season record ever. First was set by Jim Brown in the 60s. OJ broke it in 1973, and then in 84, Eric Dickerson. So only 3 guys have ever held this record.
Right.
So that tells you how rare of an opportunity this was. And that's the reason why I said, give this guy a chance to break that record. And I'm so sad that he didn't have a chance to do it.
I'll tell you, you're a young fella, and I don't think you saw Jim Brown ever play.
I didn't see him, no.
He was hysterical. He would take the ball, run with the ball, get knocked down hard. He would lay on the ground like he was dead. He would get up and then go 40 yards. He was amazing that way. he always pretended that he was hurt, that he was full. He'd get up so slowly, walk slowly back to the huddle and everything. Then they'd give him the ball, and he would look like greased lightning. He was
Crazy.
an amazing football player to
Yeah.
watch. He really
Okay,
was.
next up, before he runs away, Crazy in the Poconos. We're gonna
Oh,
sing a
there's
song.
there's Crazy Hayden, you crazy dog.
Okay,
Crazy
ready?
cat.
Hated it all the way. Hated it all damn day.
They got a song for Hayden. Oh dear God.
That tells you how famous Hayden is.
Oh
Yes.
God, he is. He's very famous.
All
He
right.
doesn't know it, but
Uh, so that was our Crazy in the Poconos segment.
All
Next
right.
up, let's pick some games.
Let's pick them.
yes,
Let's pick them.
yes, let's pick him.
Okay. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Ravens are favored by 9.5 points.
No doubt in my mind that Pitt's going to cover the spread.
Really?
Well, and I have to agree with you. I think
Really?
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh has played the Ravens probably the toughest of any other team in the NFL
Yeah.
in the past couple of years. I think that Pittsburgh is going to lose this game, but I think they're going to cover that 9.5. I think it's way too many points.
You know Mike Tomlin. You know he's going to get these guys fired. I mean, they haven't played well. They're on a 5-game losing streak, I think.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you know, being on 8 o'clock at night on Saturday night, he knows the world's watching. You can rest assured, Mr. Tomlin will have these boys sky high. If not, he'll kill them himself.
Yeah. I only have one question.
Yes.
Do you figure out a way to get Justin Fields on the field at some point during this game? I say the answer to the question is yes.
Yes, I would pull out all stops
Yeah,
to
why not?
win this game. And if Mr. Tomlin, who is a terrific coach, thinks at some point that he should inject Mr. Fields into the game, I would definitely do it, because sometimes Mr. Wilson, he was a great quarterback,
Yeah.
but now he seems to go into those foggy periods where he's just, oh, look at this. Isn't this wonderful?
Hmm.
And he gets foggy. And I think he definitely needs to get out of the game and bring in the young kid Fields. And now you have a decision to make. What do they do next year with Wilson?
That was my next question. And not only I think my thing is, do either Wilson or Fields see any time next year? Are they going to be part of the mix for the quarterbacks for next year for the Steelers? I'm not so sure. I think both of them might be gone.
No, I think it's worth it to keep Fields. Fields has got a strong arm. I think the young man just needs more time to read defenses when he comes up to the line, and then make a decision what play they're going to it. I think he needs a little more maturity, and if he gets that, he certainly has a run ability. He certainly has a strong arm. He has the ingredients. I just think he needs the experience to play in the National Football League to make sure he's able to read these different defenses that they'll throw at him. And then once he does that, I think he'll be one of the 5 to 10 top quarterbacks in the league. And I think he's well worth.
He's an amazing athlete, an absolutely amazing athlete.
Yes.
So I really root for that guy. Hopefully he'll
That's
do well
why
next year
I
somewhere.
keep him. Wilson, I think Wilson should retire. I really do. I think his days, he didn't look that good in Denver. He comes to Pittsburgh. He got everybody excited because when he first came, he turned the team around with his passing ability. But even that has fallen off now.
Yeah, he's
And
regressed.
I just don't think he's got the qualities anymore to stay in the National Football League. I think these younger guys are taking over the league. Look I think this is the greatest change that's happened to football, as far as I can see, in the last 10 to 15 years. In the last 2 years, we've had 7 young college graduates take over the National Football League starting jobs. Now, what's made the difference with some of these guys is that they stayed in college for 5 years. That's
key.
the difference.
That's key.
That's the difference. If these guys are young and they're leaving in the second and third year, it's not enough time for them to make that leap into the National Football League. They need the 4 or 5 years desperately to learn maturity, to be calmed down. Don't get excited with every good play or bad play. Keep your head in the game and take what they give you, what the other team gives you. And I think because of that there's enough, if you're smart enough, there's enough young quarterbacks coming out again this year that look pretty good. You got 3 or 4 kids that could come out. And if treated the way the others have treated, you're going to pick up another 2 or 3 quarterbacks as head of their teams.
Yeah, good points.
And
good points.
I think that's tremendous. Look at the change it would evoke. You're talking about maybe 10 young kids, 22, 23 years old, that are leading these teams now.
Yeah.
And that's what you need, because you need the run and you need the pass. You need a strong arm and you need the running ability. And those, if I was a scout, that would be my 2 qualities. If you could throw that ball hard and you can run, I'm looking at you.
All right, good points.
All right. Next up, Denver at Buffalo. Bills are favored by 8.5 points.
As far as I'm concerned, the Bills will cover. They'll beat Denver by more than 10 points.
I think the opposite. I think
Me
Denver has a really, really good defense. They have the
Whoa.
most sacks in
Wait
the
a minute,
league.
you can't disagree. Wait a minute.
I'm
That's
gonna
my
disagree.
wait a minute. That's my role.
When I watched the Denver Broncos, I think it was last weekend, I didn't realize that they had the most sacks by other team than any other team in the NFL. They have a really, really good defense. I like the way Bo Nix is moving the ball. He doesn't make mistakes. Again,
Yep.
another young guy coming out of college, a lot of starts. He's very mature. I think Denver stays within 7 points of this game. I think that they're going to
Yep.
cover the spread.
I think
Really?
so too. I agree. For all the points you just said.
That makes for an interesting game.
It will be,
Yeah, absolutely.
And
That's right.
and Denver is not a typical team that comes into a cold weather city like Buffalo, because Denver's cold as well, so they won't be afraid of that weather thing.
Yes, that
So-
was one of the points that went through my mind, that they're a cold weather team also. Most of the
Exactly.
teams are not. And going up and playing Buffalo, that's one of the downsides of playing up in Buffalo,
Exactly.
is the weather. So that doesn't affect Denver. However, I think if Buffalo can get out and score a touchdown or maybe 2 right away, I think that's going to rattle Mr. Nix. Being a young quarterback, he's going to want to come out on the field and get scores right away back and make the game even. And that's where he's going to lose the game. And I think he's not mature enough to deal with that yet. I think he needs this year, and I think you'll see he's going to be one of the top 5 to 10 quarterbacks next year.
Yeah. Good
But I
points.
think he's going to need this game under him. So
Right.
I'm saying that I think Buffalo will cover.
Buffalo covers. Okay, we'll see.
I see.
All right. Next up, Green Bay at Philly. Eagles are favored by 3.5 points.
This
As far as I'm
this-
concerned, the Eagles will beat them by at least 10 points. At least
Yep.
10.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
I don't know. I think I think this might be a field goal game. I think this might
Oh,
be yeah.
I disagree with that. That
Yeah.
is unbelievable. God.
Keep in mind, Green Bay came into the same situation last year, first game of the wild card round, went into Dallas and beat the bag out of these guys. Green Bay is dangerous. Green Bay is dangerous. They keep this game close.
I disagree.
That's what we do here. That's what we do
Yeah.
here.
Because of the fact that Mr. Love has gone into Gaga land the last couple of games. If you notice, when he's been pressured and he has to get out of that pocket and run and throw the ball, he was touted as being good at that. Well, the last couple of games that I saw, he wasn't good at it. And I think that he has lost a little bit of shine when it comes to being the top seeded quarterback. I think he be honest with you, in the midseason, I thought he was going to be terrific. I thought he was going to be one of the top quarterbacks. But in the last few games that he's played, he hasn't shown me that. They have struggled every single game. Their defense, I don't think, is really anywhere near Philadelphia's defense is. I think the defense for Green Bay is subject. And I think that going forward, they need some help. And I think that you're going to see Barkley chew up this defense. And I think they certainly will cover the 3.5 points. I think they'll win by 2 touchdowns.
The question is, does Philly need to have a fully healthy and functional Jalen Hurts to win this game? Because keep in mind, Jalen Hurts just came out of the protocol, I think just yesterday, after like 2.5 weeks of a concussion. So I'm not so sure if he's going to be the same guy as he was a couple of weeks ago, but we'll see.
Again, I disagree. I think I do not think that they need Jalen Hurts to win this game.
No, they
I
don't.
think they will give the ball to Saquon and say, "Hey, Saquon, have a great day," Have a
All
great day. See
right.
you back in the locker room.
We're gonna have a lot of fun with this one next week as after the
Oh, we
results of these
certainly are.
games.
We certainly are. Get ready.
All right, next up, Minnesota at the Rams. Vikings are favored by 2.5.
To me, this is an interesting game. The Vikings are favored by 2.5, but the Rams,
On the road, yeah.
yeah, Minnesota's on the road, and they don't do well on the road. They do better at home, of course. The Rams, I don't know. Can Stafford get Nick Wakawaba and Goff to catch the ball? I don't know. Those guys sometimes fall asleep. Like Nicaragua, whatever his name is, 2 weeks
Puka
ago.
Nakua.
Nicaragua.
Yeah, whatever. He dropped the ball. My mother said, "You just have to be close. You don't need the exact name." So that's why I grew up. But I mean, Stafford sometimes just doesn't show up. He to me, he's not a consistent quarterback, even if the numbers say he is. I see him in games where he just fades. He does that 3 and out and can't wait to get off the field. I don't know. This is a very questionable game. I say the Vikings are going to cover the 2.5. It's a field goal. I think the Vikings will win by a field goal. I don't think much more than that.
Yeah, well, we finally agree on something. I think Minnesota's going to win this game by a field goal or more. Keep in mind, this game was supposed to be in LA. Of course, the Fires have moved that game from LA to Arizona. So it's really
Yes.
truly a neutral site game.
Okay.
I think Minnesota has more talent, especially on offense. Minnesota's got one of the best defenses in the league. I think this is a low scoring, like 17-13,
Yeah.
21-18 kind of a game. I see
Right.
Minnesota prevailing by about a field goal toward the end of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. I feel the same. I think finally we agree on something.
Finally.
Well, just wait with it. Let me think a few minutes. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that. Give me a few minutes. I'll come up with something.
All right, here's a bonus pick. Ready? Based on
Yes.
what we know right now regarding the playoffs, and assuming this might change in the coming weeks, who do you think will win the Super Bowl, and who are you rooting for?
Well, I think the team that's going to win the Super Bowl is Philly. I think Philadelphia, if Mr. Hurts, not in the coming game, but in the following weeks, can get himself together and play like he's capable of playing with Saquon and his receivers and that defense. That defense is number one. I don't see anybody beating Philadelphia. I really don't. I think Philadelphia can go all the way.
As much as it hates to say this, as much as it pains me to say this,
No, you could say it. To be my guest, you could say it. Go ahead, say it.
I think we are all forgetting about the magic of Patrick Mahomes. And I think that as long as that guy has a pulse, as long as that guy has some kind of brain activity, that guy is going to will his team to win this day. And I hate saying it because I don't want to see this guy win again. But
No, I know, me
now
too.
the team I want to see win, my rooting for Detroit. I think they are
Detroit.
the ultimate feel good story of this year. All those
Lily,
injuries,
you agree?
and
I
that
do.
Dan Campbell could be a life coach. That guy is amazing. Detroit, I'm rooting for, and I'll also root for Detroit to play Buffalo in the Super Bowl. But I think ultimately it's got to be Mahomes because you cannot bet against that man. He's just too
If
good.
No, I know.
if
I
you
know. I
look
agree. And then I'm rooting for also Buffalo, Detroit, and Philly.
Philly, okay.
if you look if you look at Mahomes' last couple of games, how he limped off the field, how they had to help him off the field the last couple of games, I don't think Mahomes is Mahomes anymore like he was. And that's why we had the earlier discussions about Mahomes repeating.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think that he's going to do it this year. I think Philly, if like I said, if Hurts is normal, if he's regular, if he doesn't have any more protocol or any problems,
Uh-huh.
I think Hurts can play and win and run that offense and beat what's his name's defense, the Chiefs. Now, Spagnuolo does a great job when it comes
Yeah.
to these playoffs. He's very, very, very good. But I still feel that they are strong enough to get past the Chiefs. Now, what's his name? I think was hurt there. Jones was hurt the game before the
Yeah, Chris
last.
Jones, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how good he is at the moment. But even with him, I feel that there's enough he's got great receivers, Hurts. That's why I say Hurts has got to be good. He's got to be healthy. He's got to have his head right so that when that game starts, he's got those receivers to go to. A.J. Brown, to me, him and Jefferson are right there together.
Yeah, I love AJ Brown. He's a bull. He is a strong guy.
He
He
is a
fights for the
very
ball.
strong guy, big
Yeah,
guy. He
yeah.
can push those DPs around. That's why I say if Hurts is all right, I think Philly can win the whole ball of wax. I really do. I think uh, it all to me it all depends on Hurts. What's his name? Saquon said, there's nothing wrong with him. He didn't sit out the last game, or not sit out the last game, but he played the game before and he looked fine. So as far as I'm concerned, Saquon will be Saquon. He'll get his 100 yards. That being the case, it comes down to the receivers, and the receivers depend on Hurts, and Hurts running. So I think Philly can do it. I really do. And
It's
I
gonna be
think
really interesting.
Mahomes has taken a beating these last few games and this year more than I've ever seen in the past. He's got these guys are pounding the hell out of him. And I think Mahomes is not that big guy like Brady was, who
Yeah.
could take a pounce. Mahomes is not getting up too quickly anymore. And I think because of that, he's starting to feel it. He really is. He's a great athlete, a great kid. But I don't want to see him three-peat either.
All right.
He could ride off in the sunset with their girlfriends.
All right, CJ, give us your best over/under.
I like the under in the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game. 46.5, too many points. Go under.
I agree.
I like Minnesota and the Rams over
Okay.
47.5.
Okay.
Really? I like the Steelers and the Ravens under. I think it's just going to be 21-17.
It's going to be a good old-fashioned rock fight, street fight,
They're going to be punching each other like you can't believe, smacking in hell with each other. Yeah, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game.
All right, CJ, give us a good parlay.
Okay, this is going back to what I was saying before, which nobody agreed with me, but hey, I'm going to stick with it. So picture this. Baltimore wins, Pittsburgh covers, Buffalo wins, Denver covers. So those 4 legs of the parlay, plus $508 if that happens. And I can see it happening. I can see Baltimore winning. I can see Denver winning, but not covering. Plus 508. I'm going to play it.
All right, now say that again for me, please.
Okay, so first leg, Baltimore wins. That's like a money line bet. Pittsburgh covers. That's 2. Buffalo wins, and Denver covers. So those 4 things happen, plus 508. So you guys listening out there?
What's
You win
$508?
$508.
If you bet
win
$100,
$500, that happens?
yes. If you bet $100, you'll win
You bet $100.
$508. So
I'll tell you, this thing with the betting and all, it has gotten so crazy. Lynn, we go to IHOP Sunday morning. We meet with this kid, Justin. You know him, right? He's got me on I didn't bet any money, he did, but he's got me in the parlay. His parlay last week was Patriots win, money line. I don't know what all of that means. He's got Cowboys with 8 points. They were given 11. He's got the Panthers by 7.5 money line. Then he had the Chiefs plus 11. And then he had Amon St. Brown, a TD. He got 3 out of the 5.
Okay.
He got the first 3, and I thought we were going to get a lot of money. He would have won over $1,000.
Yep, and that's why they put those big buildings in Las Vegas. Those big buildings don't get built by themselves.
Absolutely.
A sucker is moon every day.
Absolutely. That's what I tell him. I said, you're nuts, but you need 5 things to happen. Listen, I can't get 1 thing to happen. You're looking to get 5? What are you, nuts? But these young kids are into these things, and they know the terminologies, who to bet, who to take out, who to put in. It's amazing. They rattle it off like it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I said, really? Really? And he's throwing these things at me. I said, what the hell does that mean? Money line. What does that mean? He said, well, the team's going to win. I said, really? I said, why don't you just say the team wins rather than money line? Thanks, but I wish the young kids lots of luck. I think they need a lot of help. I think going through life, this is going to be some hell of a time.
All right, CJ, give us a stay away game.
Washington and Tampa. That is a hard game to figure out. I'll give you a bonus one as well. The old Green Bay Philadelphia game again with Jalen Hurts coming off the concussion protocol, and Jordan Love has a little hand injury thing going on, so it's a little bit hard to tell who's going to come out in full strength in that game. So I wouldn't touch either of those games in Vegas, and I am in Vegas. So all right.
I'm picking even the Minnesota Rams game. I know you guys are easily picking Minnesota to win and cover, but I think that's a stay away game for me.
Yeah, if that
It could be,
game
yeah.
was
Could
if
be.
that game was in LA, it might be a little bit different. I think with LA's home field advantage, but that's a neutral site game, so that's a little bit harder for me to be strong about.
Yeah. What about the outlier of the week?
The outlier, the thing that was the least likely to happen, I think Denver. I think if Denver would go into Buffalo and win that game, that would be the ultimate surprise to me.
I think
Yes,
Washington.
Really?
Washington. Oh, all right. Who's
Yeah,
home? Washington or
Tampa.
Tampa is. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think Denver winning would be the outlier for me. If Denver beats Buffalo, that would be a huge upset for me.
Yeah, and if Josh Allen, who I love by the way, if that guy reverts to a guy who tried to force some passes, throws a couple of picks, maybe two picks or something, and Denver plays that solid run game, short passing, good defense, I can see Denver scoring 24 points and maybe Buffalo scoring 23 with a couple of picks and so forth. So you just never know. I think that might be the more likely of the surprise outcomes this weekend.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do Hayden's lock of the week.
Hayden, where's
You
that
know,
Oh,
cat?
all animals are his cousins, so he's going with his cousins once again, the Rams. He's picking the
oh
Rams.
Okay.
God.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I'm picking the other LA team, the Chargers.
wonderful. Oh
Hey,
God.
speaking of the Chargers, Jim Harbaugh has done a great job with those Chargers. They're about a year or two ahead of the schedule.
Yes.
I am openly rooting for Jim Harbaugh. I love that guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like that pick.
Yep.
Yep. I agree. I agree.
All right. Retired Fatty, give us a hot topic or two for
All
next
right.
week's
I
show.
got two topics as usual. The
All
first
right.
one, who would you pick as the MVP in the AFC and the NFC? I don't
Okay.
think it's right to give one MVP for both leagues. I think each league needs its own,
I
and
agree.
I
I
agree.
would give an AFC and an NFC. That's number one. Number two, this time of the year, we now know all of the teams, what they made. If you were starting a new team in the NFL, who would be your quarterback if you had the choice of all of the people you've seen?
Hmm. Good question. Good question. All right.
Joe
Well,
Burrow.
Who?
Joe Burrow.
Well, certainly. What about Lamar Jackson?
Yeah,
What
Lamar
about
too.
Josh? What about Josh
Josh
Allen?
Allen.
What
yeah.
about Mahomes? That's
Lamar
why I
Well, you
say,
Jackson
know,
is
Mahomes at week 18 is ranked sixth.
Yeah, he didn't have the typical Mahomes kind of a year.
no.
No, he
Lamar
didn't.
Jackson had a wonderful, he had one of his best career year as far as stats go, but he has to show me he can win playoff games. That's the only thing missing from his resume is he got a chance to take his team to the Super Bowl and win it because he has lost too many games in the early playoff rounds. So that's the one thing about Lamar that I think is a strike against him.
That's
Yeah.
why I say you got to be careful the quarterback you would
Gotta be
pick.
careful. You gotta be
So
careful.
let me know who you would pick as the quarterback you would have wish for if
All
you
right.
start a brand new team in the National Football League.
Good question. All right, Lily, take us out.
Okay. We want to remind our guests to check us out at thesmartgamble.com, subscribe to us on YouTube, reach out to us at thesmartgamble@gmail.com, check us out on social media on Twitter and Instagram at @thesmartgamble_. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and we love you all.
Enjoy the games.
Yes,
Enjoy the
enjoy the
game.
games. Yes, you take care of yourselves,
All right,
both of you.
you guys take care as well. Love you guys.
Okay.
Yes,
Love
love
you.
you. All right, bye.
Bye.